Cheetos and Doritos brands are now going to be offering colorless alternatives. It kind of goes back into this question about dyes and other things being in our food supply. So I want to bring in Heidi Hageman to talk a little bit about what this means for us and what we should take from this. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hi, thanks for having me on. Yeah, Cheetos and Doritos, these are long-time, wildly popular heritage snack brands. People know them, of course, for their orange coloring. It's iconic. It's a big part of the brand identity. The dust on your fingers, the packaging, all of it is very iconic. And it actually brings like a nostalgic, emotional connection. So it's more than just flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back into the sense of, is the brand still the brand if it doesn't look like what we associate the brand with anymore?
Well, for sure, it's a novelty. So, they're rolling out these new products, and this is in part of the evolving food regulations, which are phasing out synthetic dyes in 2026. And, you have to ask yourself, are these food executives just getting ahead of it? So if you're an executive and you hear these regulations are coming down the pipes, you don't really wait for it. You kind of get ahead of it and kind of make it seem like it's your idea to avoid a PR disaster. It's smart. So they're not really rebranding, they're evolving, and they're adding this in addition to their existing line. So it kind of lets them appear to be more forward thinking without alienating their core audience. So kind of modernizing without losing what makes them iconic. It solves a perception problem before it starts.
Yeah, we have seen brands from, whether it's breakfast brands or beer brands. I'm not using anyone's actual, name, but that have taken a risk or taken a step that they thought was proactive, and it had the worst kind of backlash. So do you think that this is a risk that they run into in changing something like this?
Well, I think they're going to have to regardless. So the pros in this is the novelty factor. So people always like something that's kind of unique. It could inspire viral moments and momentum. There could be social media, pop culture moments. It could seem healthier and more appealing to certain demographics like parents or those who are health conscious. But from a con perspective, the novelty could wear off. I mean, it could briefly capture attention, but people don't always adapt to change from a long-time legacy brand standpoint. From a messaging standpoint, though, I mean, they're going to have to go hard on the idea that the flavor will not be lost because people kind of assimilate that flavor with that coloring, I think.
And I'm so glad you brought that up. Let me just read off the statement from their chief marketing officer. It says, no color, no artificial flavors, same intensity. To your point, that's simply naked. Doritos and Cheetos are pioneering a snack revolution, or a renaissance, if you will. We are reinventing our iconic and most famous brands to deliver options with the bold flavors fans know and love, now reimagined without any colors or artificial flavors.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely some great PR if I've ever heard it, but I mean, good luck to them for sure. Let's think about what happened in the 90s, Crystal Pepsi. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So Crystal Pepsi is a perfect example of that, and ultimately it didn't last. I mean, I can remember when it came out as a kid, it was such a novelty, of course, but ultimately there was confusion on the brand, I think. Was it a diet soda? Was it more like Sprite? Was it more healthy? Ultimately it didn't work and it got pulled off the shelves, but it sounds like they're going to have to transition whether you like it or not here, so they might as well get ahead of it from a branding standpoint.
Yeah, and you're talking about a snack revolution and making them healthier, but does an artificial dye, is that, I mean, does a Dorito become healthy?
Because a little bit controversial, I mean, it seems like some of those additives are not so healthy. So, they're going to be pulled off the shelves. And I don't think it's just going to be this brand. I think you're going to see a lot of major food brands having to adapt to these changes. And they are kind of going to be leading this quote unquote revolution. It's coming whether you like it or not. But it seems like they're going to be rolling it out in addition to their existing products. So I'm not sure how far those regulations will go. If this is the end of orange, fingers and Frito dust, or Dorito dust and Cheeto dust, or if this is just kind of a transition into the next phase of food and snacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and PepsiCo is already saying if we can reinvent Doritos and Cheetos, imagine what's next.
Yep, imagine the possibilities. Great PR branding for sure.
So let me ask you this. What are some of maybe the most disastrous or the best types of fundamental shifts a brand has made that you can remember that actually either paid off or just really backfired?
Oh, you're really catching me on the spot there. I'd have to think about that a little bit more, but I do think that, the Crystal Pepsi, I think was a great example of something that was tried and, it had the novelty factor, like I just mentioned, but ultimately it didn't work for the reasons. People are very protective of their legacy brands. They associate it with childhood memories, growing up after baseball games, getting snacks. So when you make changes, people are not always comfortable with it. So I do think this is going to be interesting to see it roll out.
Absolutely. And how would you advise a client maybe who's like, hey, we got to make this shift. We're trying to get ahead of it. What do we need to do to make it smooth?
Exactly what they did. That's why I know it's a PR initiative. So when changes are coming that you can't help, the number one thing is to get ahead of it, craft messaging that will work in your favor to, roll out the positive aspects of these transitions and hope for the best from the consumer standpoint with positive language that speaks to why this is a good thing for you and why you should be excited about it.
And what happens if, say, like a breakfast brand that we know very well, you try to make a change and you get incredible backlash? It kind of becomes that catch-22 because people are going to talk if you make the change or if you don't make the change after they call you out for making the change.
Well, I'm sure that these brands have done enough case studies to know if there's any general interest in mind. I think, again, it's an Instagram era, it's a social media era, it's a TikTok era. So anything different, whether it's, Taco Bell rolling out a new Crunch Supreme wrap or any sort of major food brand, there's always going to be an interest from a novelty perspective. And I think it will do well in that regards. I just wonder if it has the staying power to last and continue to grow alongside the legacy brands.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be very interesting to watch, for sure. Maybe cleaner, but very interesting to watch.
Will you be eating them?
You know what? I don't know. I'm not a big Cheetos fan, but I might just have to try these colorless Doritos just to see if the taste is still the same. I mean, listen, it's still football season. The Super Bowl is still, in February. So there will be a time when I give them a try. They say that they are, they could be pre-ordered immediately and will be in stores by December 1st. So there's plenty of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to try them. I'd like to see if they live up to the hype of the flavor for sure.
Exactly. If for nothing else, and maybe we'll have to do a post.
We'll find out. I'm sure you'll see it on social media before you know it.
I'm so sure. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.